Tell you what, let's answer the question I put up in the last video. What is that 500K resistor doing inside the coil of T1 up in here? It runs from this connector right here. Let me zoom in. It runs from that connector right there over to this wire right here, right there. That's where the resistor is, inside there, between those two. Alright, well, I'm going to tell you what the answer is. That 500K resistor is the 500K resistor that's located in here is that 500K resistor right there, coming off the plate of the AVC tube. What they did, if you follow this thing back, this resistor, you follow it back, you'll see that it goes up, 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 all the way across, and right here it goes up into the one of the coils of T1. So rather than locate it down here and run directly from the plate of the AVC tube down to the candle resistor, which is what I have done right here. That's the 500K right there, connected to pin 2 on the AVC tube, which is the plate. I ran it down and connected it directly to the resistor, the candle resistor right there. Now what they did was they ran a wire. They ran the wire, this wire here, now you know has to come all the way across, come down and connect into this plate. So what they did was they ran that wire from there. It's kind of interesting. They ran that wire from there up to a resistor that they positioned inside the coil, and then they just connected another wire on it and ran that wire all the way down to here. Is that something else, huh? That's all they did. There's nothing really connected to the other side of that resistor inside the barrel of that coil. Let's take a look at it a little bit closer. Let's go to this point right here where this wire is connected and the coil is connected and the capacitor is connected. That's right there. Okay? There's the pin going up into the coil, and there's the capacitor right there. Now, that pin right there is connected to that resistor inside that barrel, and then it comes out over here. It's a dead pin right there on that tube. There's no coil connected to that. The only thing connected to that thing, let me get around the other side and show you. There it is. That was a dead pin, unused. There's no wires coming to it from the coil. Whereas over here you can see a wire coming to it from the coil, see? On this pin over here, you see that little thin wire. Over here there's nothing. So they just went ahead and ran the lead out and soldered it to the leg at the bottom end, and then ran a wire from there all the way down to pin 2 in the AVC. Oh, tricky, tricky. So what do I do now? Well, you know, the same old question comes up. You know, should I take that 500K resistor and relocate it here? Or should I just go ahead and disconnect this wire and let that thing hang right there? And, you know, just kind of leave this where it's at. I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to try the radio with the resistor right here. It's just a plate resistor, I think. I'm just going to leave it right there where it's at. It's connected properly. Remember, the same electrical point, only I went a different route, okay? And then I think I'll go ahead and just desolder this one right here and just let that pin hang out in midair. Just like the one next to it. If you'll see right there, there's another one next to it. If I can find it, let me get my pencil. Yeah, see, there's another one there that was unused. Okay. So that one was unused, and we'll soon have this one unused also. I'm just going to take this brown wire off. I'll leave the resistor soldered to it. That's it. No big deal. It's not connected to anything else. Well, there you go, folks. The wire has been removed right here. And I'm holding it in my hot little hand. We're going to go ahead and toss this baby. Remember, all we did here, or I guess I could say all I did, was this resistor right here. Again, that resistor right there, 500K, that connects to pin 2 of the ABC tube, the 24 tube. All I did was relocate it from up inside this tube on T1. Instead of running a wire from here, you know, one side of the resistor all the way down across the entire chassis, I just ran it straight from pin 2 to the candome resistor where it was originally hooked. Where it was hooked, you know, from up here. They ran it all the way down through and hooked it there. Now, the question is, you know, is it going to make any difference in performance having that resistor down here below the tube, and I mean, you know, the tube socket connected like that under the tube socket? Or, you know, was it better up here? And did, you know, why did they put it in there? I don't know. I do not know. Now, we did that to this one right here. See that resistor down the side there? That one was also located inside the antenna coil. And we moved it out, remember? And just soldered it to the tab and then ran the wire from there where it had to go. I don't know, you know. Quite a while ago, I think I told you that we have a tendency to overthink things. You know, we look at things from a modern thinking, cognitive standpoint, if that makes sense. You know, this radio will probably work fine with this resistor right here that I soldered in. I don't see any problem. So that's all we did. We moved it from here down to here. So what else has been done since the last video? Well, as I said, I was going to twist these wires up all the way best I could and get them behind the wires on the choke, which I now have. You know, it's not this. You know, I'm not a hair braider. I'm not the greatest braider in the world, but we twisted them up and we got them hooked back up to our volume control real good. And I removed a bunch of old wires that were hanging here. I trimmed off these antenna wires. They were just hanging everywhere. This wire that was down here that was sticking out, that red one, that one's gone, not needed. I took off the black wires that were stubs, got rid of those. The only thing I did not remove was this black wire here. Like I said in the last video, I'm going to leave that there. I may need, that goes to a ground. I may need to pick up a ground. I just need to get a piece of heat shrink and put over it. Be a handy ground. It might come in handy if I need one. And then I went ahead and fastened this ceramic variable capacitor and a trimmer cap, I guess is what, or a patter, I guess is what you really would call it, a patter. Put brand new screws and lock washers and nuts on there. So that thing's not going to go anywhere. And that's about it. So we're ready to get back to adding some parts. Matter of fact, we're out of all loose dangling wires completely, except for the antenna wires and our wires that go to our tuning meter, that one and this one, but we know what they go to. Everything else is finally accounted for, okay? Now, the next thing we have to do is install this electrolytic capacitor right here and this cap that goes parallel to the choke. I want to get these two done, and that'll finish this entire area over here. So how are we going to go ahead and hook these two capacitors in? This electrolytic and this 0.25 microfarad. Incidentally, there's a little note there. See what that says right there? It says 60N set only. Now some young guy, you know, or some guy just starting out, doesn't really matter what your age is, you see that and you say, what is a 60N set? Must have been some different set, right? Well, it is, sort of, but what that little N is not an N, it's a cycle symbol. On a 60 cycle set only, you will have this capacitor, okay? That's what that's saying, all right? Now, what we're going to do is we're going to connect the positive and one side of the 0.25 microfarad capacitor. We're going to hook them together in the terminal on the bottom of the 80 tube, which is the rectifier, on pin 1. Those two. Now this choke is already connected by a black wire to there. We've already done that. And the green wire coming off the power transformer is also already connected there. So there's two wires there already, a green and a black. We're going to go ahead and connect this wire and this wire to the same place, same electrical point. Then all we have to do is connect the bottom of the electrolytic capacitor, the negative, down to the orange wire. Remember the orange wire coming out of the center tap? So let's go ahead and get both of these capacitors connected to pin 1. And then I'll show you how easy it's going to be to hook up this wire to orange and where we're going to hook this wire. And I don't want to hook this wire all the way up here to any of these 35 tubes because in that same red line, you know, this side of the 0.25 microfarad capacitor, because that would take me clear. I'd be going from the rectifier clear across with a wire all the way over here to where these 35 tubes are, way over here. I don't want to do that. I want to make the trip shorter between here and there. There has to be a way to do that. And there again, we're looking at the same electrical point, okay? That's what we're looking for. So let's get these two in first. The electrolytic is in. I have the negative side connected over here to the orange terminal that's jumpered across right here. You remember a while back I put a jumper between those two. So I went ahead and used the second terminal right here. Both of these terminals are the same. Come on, camera. Jeez. Both of these terminals are the same because of that jumper, so I ran the negative there to the orange, which is the negative here. Negative here to the orange. The positive went up and connected to pin 1 of the 80 rectifier tube, which is right here. And that's that lead coming from the electrolytic right there, connected to pin 1 on the 80 rectifier tube. Now the next one, it was a little bit more, I had to do a little more thinking. One side of this capacitor also connected to pin 1 of the 80 tube, as I've said earlier. I just want to keep reminding you over and over so you know what's going on here. This is what that lead connecting to pin 1 of the 80 rectifier tube, the same place the electrolytic lead positive also connect. Now, what did we do with the other side? Now, I could have connected it to the positive of this electrolytic. The problem was that electrolytic is way over here. So I would have had to run a wire from here all the way across to here. Well, I didn't want to do that. You know, we're trying to avoid wires here. Well, let's take a look at it a little closer. Let's follow it up. Follow it up, up, up. Where does this line go? This line goes over to the speaker plug. And it connects, I put a note there, there's no wire, and I made a little blue thing, there's no wire on this terminal of the field coil. These are the two wide connectors on the bottom of the socket of the the speaker plug. This one here has no wire on it yet. Well, that would be this one right here. So what I did was I just went from pin 1 on the rectifier tube straight down and connected it to the that one right there where there was nothing connected at all. And we now have that in. Now, of course, we still have a problem with that because there's no wire as yet. You'll notice that that wire has not yet been colored in. So I'm going to have to get that connection made, or this side of the capacitor will not be connected to there. So I've got to get that wire in, okay? And also the choke and every other thing won't be connected to right here, which would be the field coil. Well, that ends that right now. So let me see. Next time we pick this up, I want to get it all done in this video. We're going to put in these three right here. We're going to put this wire in, and then there'll be one more thing to do after that. And we will be done with the bottom of this chassis. So hang in there. This video may be a little longer than what we're used to doing. Well, I shouldn't say that. A couple of videos are in 30 minutes or more. Okay. Well, moving right along here, I think I'll go ahead and put in this wire next. We've got to get that thing connected. We will go from that empty terminal that now has this capacitor connected to it, which would be this part right here, this side right here. We're going to connect it all the way across and down to the positive side of this capacitor. Now, the positive side of that capacitor is way over here. So this is one of these deals where we're just going to have to run a long wire. That's all there is to it. It's going to have to go to here. Now that terminal's all jammed up, as you can see, with all kinds of wires already. So there's not going to be any room to really connect this wire right here when I get to the end of it over there. So what do? Well, we do what we've always done. Right next to this terminal, where everything's all jammed up, you get a clarity here. You can see there's an empty terminal. Well, let me see, is that empty or not? Yeah, it is. Yes, it is. Okay, that's an empty terminal right there. So I'm going to take this little jumper wire that I made, and I'm going to jumper those two together. I'm going to jumper the positive of this capacitor to that empty terminal, and they'll both become one. Alright? Now the positive of that capacitor is right there. Back up here, back up. A little bit too close now. Right there's the positive. So all I have to do is run a jumper wire from here, run a wire from here to the positive of that capacitor. From here on the speaker plug to the terminal that I will put the jumper across right there. Let's get that done. The deed is done. I have connected it here on the speaker socket, which is right there. And we have run all the way across, all the way across, all the way across, all the way up to the terminal right there. That terminal right there has been jumpered to the positive of this electrolytic capacitor, which means that we are now connected to the positive of the electrolytic. That's a little jumper wire down in the bottom down there. I soldered it on the other side, ran them through the hole, just like I did the others, you know. No different than this one right here. Same thing. Where's it at here? It's here someplace. I think that's it. Let me make sure. Yep, that's it. See? Just a little jumper wire. Just ran it from hole to hole and then soldered it on the other side. And it is time to put in some orange. Oh, I thought we'd never get to this part. We have installed this capacitor. We have installed this electrolytic. And we have installed this wire. Let me back up. I want everybody to see it now. We have installed this wire here all the way across to here. It's connected to the positive of this electrolytic through that jumper wire, okay? See? Same electrical point. Alright, let me see. Let me study the schematic. I think all we have left to do is this and one other thing. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, let's kick off the next to the last items on this schematic, and we can wrap it all up and say we're done with the bottom, with the exception of some, dressing up a few things. For instance, this wire right here is awfully long. I'm going to go ahead and shorten that baby up. And down in here there is a black wire. It's a ground wire, but I still don't like it. You can see right there where the insulation has been taken off. You can see the wire sticking through. We're going to change a few of those things, but that'll be done before the next video, okay? Right now we're still consumed with this stuff right here and one more item. So let's get cranked up with it. The first thing we're going to do, well, I'll tell you what, let me tell you how it is. What do? We have a resistor and 3 capacitors. Well, what do? How do we hook them up? Well, I'll tell you. It's the same thing that when we're working on the wires. We take one wire at a time. We take one component at a time. Piece of cake. Let's go ahead and take the bottom. Let's get this bottom one hooked up first. This 0.25 microfarad. This here is a 4.0 electrolytic. 4.0 microfarad, 150 volt electrolytic. This is just a film cap of 0.25, and this is a film cap of 0.25 microfarad also. And then we have a 4500 ohm resistor. All three of this side of the resistor this side of the capacitor, this side of the capacitor, and this side of this capacitor, they're all connected to ground. Right there at the end, on the schematic, they're all connected to ground on the end of the canned ohm resistor. And the other end of this resistor, of this capacitor right here, comes down, comes across, and it connects to the orange wire, which ultimately is the center tap on the high voltage winding on the secondary of the power transformer. So this end of the cap goes to ground, this end of the cap goes to the orange wire. That's why I made that thing orange. Easy to find. I really like orange for center tap. Kind of, actually, look at the whole schematic. Looks like I like orange for the schematic too. So how do we go about doing this? We take one component at a time, just like we took one wire at a time. Let's cover up this mess right here, and you'll see that we only have one capacitor. All right, one end goes to ground, the other end goes to the orange wire. Remember that old third terminal strip I put in? I think that's the third. Let me see, I got 1, 2, 2, yeah, that's the third one, I think. No, we got 4. That's the fourth one I put in. It's just been sitting there not being used. So this right here, what's it connect to? Well, it's connected to ground, okay? Right there. Well, guess what? I found the ground for the one side of the capacitor. The other side is close enough with the lead long enough that it'll go right down to where the orange wire is on this terminal strip. Remember that jumper wire I put in there right at the bottom between this terminal and this terminal? Makes them both one. All I have to do is solder this in place. Let's do that. All done. All soldered. Looks real good, nice and shiny. All right, now, upside down. That takes care of that right there. I'll tell you what, let's just go ahead and put the orange to it. What the heck? All right, that's in. All the way up to the ground. Okay. Now we need to hook up the rest. Now how are we going to do that? Well, we got resistor, electrolytic, and a 0.25 microfarad. What I have decided to do, why reinvent the wheel on this? We have one sitting on top of another on the schematic, so why not have one sitting on top of the other physically? There we go. Works fine. So what we have is what you see right there. Pretty neat, huh? You betcha. You just got to make sure you get the right side of the capacitor connected to the right place. And in this case, the positive would be connected here, and the negative would be connected here to ground, okay? There we go. So what now? We have to find out where we're going to hook this mess up. I want to do it without, if possible, without any wires being put back in the chassis. If so, we will have eliminated a bunch of wires on this one. Let's look. Well, after giving this thing a little skull braining, I figured I could go ahead and use the same grounding point as we did on that capacitor right there. Now, if we take a look at our schizo, we got the grounding point problem solved, which is this side right here of that gang. Now, where can we hook the other lead? Well, we can go this way, anywhere in these red lines. We can hook it to the speaker plug. I don't want to go way over here. If I hook the ground here, I don't want to go way down here to the speaker plug. That defeats what I'm trying to do by getting rid of the wires. And we could go up here all the way up to the what is this? This is the second detector. That wouldn't be too cool either. That's way down here. That would have to come way down here again. And let's follow another wire here. Let's go up, 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 up. Well, this is beginning to look promising. We're on the same side of the chassis. We got 335s here, and they're all connected to pin 3 here, here, and here. So we can connect this side of that gang of stuff I put together right here. Take that and connect it to any one of these pin 3s on the socket of the 335 tubes. Well, let's go over and see what we got. Which one would be closer? First of all, let me get this thing positioned. Let me see, we can connect one end over here with that capacitor if I can find. Oh yeah, that's good. Okay. And look at there. Look at there. Look at there. There it is. Pin 1, pin 2, pin 3. This one would be farther away. 1, 2, 3. I'd have to bend it all the way up here. Bend the wire all the way up there. And this is the other 35 too. 1, 2, 3. I'd have to crisscross this wiring here with this capacitor. Not a good idea. Look at here. It's a straight shot to pin 1, pin 1, 2, 3. All I got to do is solder it in place. Put a little bit of, you know, insulation on the leads. Make sure it's not touching anything when I'm done. Problem solved. You know, we can move this over here a little ways, kind of center it up. Is that cool or what? I want to do that one. Well, I realized that if I connected the 3 components the way I originally wanted to do it, you know, would have turned upright with the resistor at the top, it would have put the wrong side of the electrolytic connected to ground. I said, oh man, I don't believe I did that. When I put that together, I wasn't thinking. But anyway, it's just a matter of facing it downward instead of upward. Doesn't matter. Connected to ground here, connected over here to pin 3. Okay, so we're back in business on that, no problem. Let's move on to the last item. The last item, except for these 2 wires here that go to the tuning meter, the last item that we have to connect up is the coil. The 100 microhenry coil right there. That's the coil that was underneath the box. Now it's sitting in the box. You'll notice that I covered it with liquid tape, which really made it secure, and it ohms out real good on the multimeter. So we're going to leave it in there along with my, you know, my little time capsule note and a dollar bill. That's what we always do in the radios I restore. If I can get a little clarity here. Yeah, inside that note is a dollar bill. So maybe somebody 100 years from now or 80 years from now will find that thing, okay? And what we're going to do is just leave it in there like that. I've got the wires coming out the way I want them. Because, let's take a look at our schematic. Where do the wires connect up? One side of the coil connects to the 0.0005 microfarad capacitor. That's that Aerobox capacitor. It connects right there where that empty ring is. There's nothing connected to it. One side goes there. The other side comes over and connects to pin 4 of the second detector. It's the cathode. Okay? So that'll come over here, the second detector, which is right down here. Pin 4 will be 1, 2, 3, 4. That's a pretty busy little pin. We got a lot of stuff connected over there already. I'll have to extract all that solder, see if I can't do I may have to rearrange those babies. There's a lot of things connected to that right there. But anyway, either way you look at it, it's got to be connected there. Even if I ran it to a terminal strip and ran it down, it would still have to be connected to pin 4. So about the only way you can get around that is to run all these connectors to a terminal strip, connect all the, jumper all the terminals together on the terminal strip, and then run one wire from the terminal strip down to here. That may be what I have to do. I hope not. Let's go ahead and get this thing positioned. I've got this thing set up so the left-hand wire goes down to pin 4, okay, and the upper wire will swing across this way and connect over here. I think that's the way I got it. No, it's like this. It's like this. Okay, the top left, the one on the left goes over and connects to the Aerobox capacitor, and the one coming out of the bottom goes down and connects to pin 4. That's the way it is. So this thing here will be positioned up under here like so, with that coil inside. So let's get everything put together here, and so we can at least hook up the wires. I want to get that box fastened to the bottom of the chassis. Well, that's it, folks. We got everything in that we wanted to get in here, to include the old coil. Let's go ahead. We already had it previously colored in, but we'll color it in again. Okay, she's now hooked up over to pin 4. There we go. Well, that's it. I think we have it all. All the wiring has been done, all the rewiring, with the exception of the wires going to the tuner meter, the tuning meter. I also went ahead and put a heat shrink over that ground wire that I said I was going to do. And this here, I think I decided to leave it this length. There has to be a reason why it's that long. And it goes right by the antenna wire. So that might have something to do with it. I'm going to go ahead and leave it. It's sound. There's nothing wrong with the wire. It's perfectly in good shape. Okay, next time you see me, I'll have had a few other things dressed up in here. A couple of wire changes. That's all basic stuff that everybody knows how to do. Today's Monday. I want to get this thing uploaded tonight so you can see it on Tuesday. Because Wednesday, which is the 18th of May, I will be on my way to Dayton, Ohio. And I will be there until, I won't be back till following Monday. So I'll be going Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday we come back. Tuesday I go back to work. There's just no rest for the weary, I guess. So that's what's going to be going on. I'll be out of socket or out of pocket, out of touch for 5 days beginning at dark 30 Wednesday morning. And that's it for this. I hope I made a whole pile of videos doing this, and I'm trying to connect them all together. Some of them may look a little funky, say, wait a minute, he jumped from here to there. Don't worry about it. That's just the way it went down, okay? The box is hooked up, looking real good. And I think we can go ahead and call this video quits. Anything I missed, I'll pick up on next time, okay? And next time, I hope to get the tuner in on the top of the chassis. Yep. We put that black wire in, by the way, that was showing the bare spot. Right there, I had a bare spot where it was going up through the chassis. It had rubbed. It's just a ground wire, but still, I didn't like that. Until next time, this is John. By the way, if anybody, any one of you go to the Hamvention, I know that Scott Johnson, our good subscriber Scott Johnson, will be there. We're already planning to link up once we both get to the Hamvention in Dayton. Anybody else shows up, all you got to do is get on the, I'm sure they've got an announcer, a bullhorn, public address system, something, anything. Just say, hey, where's the boys from Conway, Arkansas? We'll show up. It'll take a while. And I'm sure if Scott Johnston hears that same announcement, he'll link up with you, and he's got my phone number. He can give me a call. Maybe we can get together and drink a Coke or something, okay? See you then, hopefully.